Meanwhile, 2.8 million people who have been able to get out, mostly women and children. UN Refugee Agency Commissioner Filippo Grandi said Sunday the amount of people on the move following Russia's invasion of Ukraine constitutes the fastest growing refugee crisis in Europe since World War II.
Wow.
It is reminiscent of the 2015 migrant crisis spurred by the war in Syria, but that was 1 million asylum seekers who came from Syria. We are almost triple that in less than 3 weeks of war. 2.8 million people crossing the border. Grandi told French radio station France Inter the sheer number of people fleeing for safety is a terrifying figure. And while many refugees going to other countries have family ties, what we fear is a second wave of persons who have a good deal less resources and connections and who will be much more vulnerable. Most of those fleeing Ukraine are women and children. As I said, the men cannot leave. The men 18 to 60 are banned from leaving because they are needed for the war effort. Nations directly to the west and south of Ukraine have accepted large numbers of refugees. Moldova has 278,000 Ukrainians. The concern is that Russia can attack Moldova because Moldova is not part of the NATO alliance. Mm-hmm. The other concern that's happening besides the sheer amount of refugees is that there's a lot of reports that some women and children are going missing.
Whoa.
Because they cross over the border, they don't have cars, they don't have transportation, and there are people there who are waiting to help them. Mm-hmm. And obviously most people are very good. But there are reports that there are women and children who get into cars.
Oh man! So what are they, human trafficking?
Yeah. Wow. As they cross the border, for people who are there presumably to help them, and some of these women and children have not been heard from since. Jeez. And the concern is, yes, human trafficking. So according to Constanta Dohartu, a Moldovan activist heavily involved in civilian efforts to provide aid, said there are fears those caught up in the mass departure of Ukraine have become targets of human traffickers. At the border, I'm quoting Constanta, at the border, some women are really afraid to get into cars, which is why now our volunteers are wearing vests to help identify themselves, she said. And efforts are underway toward official identification for drivers to show they've been vetted by the government and are offering safe transportation.
Yeah, they definitely need that. Yes. Something to make sure they know they're legit.
Right. Thanks for watching. For more Brad Show Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.